Being the strange weirdo I am, I decided to give Klonoa, Door to Phantomile Wii Edition, a chance. I can see why some people didn't thoroughly enjoy it. I mean, commercially speaking, the game series didn't do too well, which is surprising considering the company who created the game, Namco, helped create bestsellers like Pac-Man and Little Nightmares. But I'm not here to shoot Klonoa down. There are some things that I myself would have done to improve the game, but other than some clunky dialogue and frustrating levels, it's an okay game. Nothing to win an Academy Award or anything like that, but a good game, nonetheless. Now, there's going to be spoilers for this game, so if you haven't watched a playthrough or played Klonoa for yourselves, then I strongly advise turning back now. Or, if you're the kind of person who genuinely doesn't give a shit and likes spoilers, stay, I guess. So the original Klonoa game came out back in 1997. I'm not sure if this was before Namco became Bandai Namco. In either case, Door to Phantomile was released for PlayStation 1. It wasn't a big success. It came with mixed reviews, and I'm not sure if it was because of the plot or the sad ending, or even the cringe moments. But after that ship sailed, Namco came out with a bunch of sequels. Klonoa Heroes, Klonoa 2, Klonoa and the Empire of Dreams. And after playing the Wii remake, let me tell you, I didn't hate this game. Sure, I felt frustrated at times. It admittedly got rather tedious in some parts of the game. You have to figure out for yourself how to progress through the levels, because there aren't any tips or hints or tutorials for the boss fights, or even for pretty hard to reach places. And the whole game feels like an acid trip or a lucid dream, which, given the plot summary, kind of is. I think what drew me into Klonoa was two things. One, the soundtrack. It has a very melancholic feeling to it. Like you wouldn't think such a cute and bright-colored game would have dark moments. Welp, you're in for a lot of surprises. First of all, Klonoa's grandfather is killed not even halfway through the story. There's a part in the game where a solar eclipse happens, and all of the enemies which Klonoa normally wouldn't have a problem taking down become invincible, and basically become creatures from hell. I must have spent an hour trying to climb the sun pyramid to get to the boss fight that awaited me at the top. And with that reason, let me introduce you to my second reason for getting interested in Klonoa. Joka, or Joker, as some people would call him. If you couldn't tell by this point, I've always had an interest in anti-heroes and villains, specifically jesters or clowns. I mean, I like characters like Marx from Kirby, Dementio from Super Paper Mario, even that asshole Jevil from Deltarune, which I have finally defeated. So yes, I ended up liking Joka. Let me say this. If Klonoa wasn't overshadowed by more popular games such as Kirby, Rayman, and Sonic the Hedgehog, which in my opinion seems to be a mix between all three games, Joka could have become the next Bowser Jr. The hardest boss for me was Gelg Bulm. You have to be a dead aim when shooting enemies into his mouth, otherwise throwing moves at him won't do jack shit. Also, I don't know if this game is like Crash Bandicoot, where collecting all the gems and items in every level does something special or not. I'll tell you this. It sure as hell doesn't change the ending. So, spoiler alert, Phantomile is just a place that exists in Klonoa's head. And according to one thing I've read, Klonoa is cursed to wander from one dream realm to another, saving the day but ultimately losing his friends because he doesn't belong there. Hupo is a dick. He's not a real friend to Klonoa, and dare I say it, he's fucking annoying. He gave Klonoa all these false memories of them growing up together just so Klonoa can save his world from destruction. In the process, it also means Klonoa needs to be forcibly thrown back into his real world. Hupo probably never wanted to lose Klonoa, but seriously, he's forever been painted in an antagonistic light to me. There's just something wrong about getting really close to someone just to tell them, our friendship was a lie. This whole thing was a lie that I set up in order to save my ass and everyone else's in this world. Not like I could have been upfront and honest and asked you for help. No. I had to manipulate you into thinking we were best buddies, when that is so far from the truth it's crazy. Hupo seems to really feel sad when Klonoa is sucked into the sky and disappears forever, but it still doesn't change the fact that this is practically all his fault. He was better off never getting emotionally attached to Klonoa in the first place. Which is probably why, at the end of the day, I felt worse for Klonoa than I ever did for Hupo. Fun fact, On an old Japanese website for the game, there is a developer section that shows many unused concepts, including an evil doppelganger of Klonoa and a boss fight against Hupo. I'm almost halfway convinced that Gaudius is Hupo's father. Joka was the comic relief in a very silly, childish way. Gaudius wasn't a looming threat. He wasn't even the true villain of the story. Nahatum was. Nahatum was the result of the world rejecting Gaudius and acting like he was a bad guy for expressing his feelings. The incarnation of loneliness, hatred, guilt, and exile itself. Gaudius had bad dreams. So what? Does that mean you throw him in the lake of fire for that? He basically couldn't have good dreams, and he was acting out because people were treating him like a freak, even at the expense of his own life. It was Gaudius's way of saying, everything is not fine, and I'm tired of everyone pretending that it is all the time. Okay, like, if I created Klonoa or was somehow involved in the writing department, I would have made the story more interesting, not just a simple beat the bad guys and go kind of thing. The songstress wasn't a love interest of Klonoa's or even a damsel in distress, technically. She was just on the to-do list, and not even a major character. Corral got on my nerves, Grandpa was useless. I mean, Klonoa's grandfather only served one purpose: to give Klonoa a reason to chase down Joka and get revenge. And canonically speaking, Joka doesn't die. He's just sent to the underworld or whatever for failing his boss. Be that as it may, Joka was a pretty redeeming quality about Klonoa. Fight me. The dude has a great voice for a jester villain, and I found myself giggling a little during his scenes. Maybe I am simping over Joka, but then again, maybe he's an extremely underrated character. In conclusion, Klonoa has been left in the dust for 20 years, and while I don't think that's exactly fair of people, Namco acts like they want nothing to do with the series anymore, and they also canceled the movie a while back. I have yet to see the other games, and I'm particularly interested in the webcomics currently. I don't know about you guys, but I believe Klonoa deserves a second chance. I honestly truly think that given the right script, direction, and voice actors, Klonoa can become something great. So if you're hearing this, Namco, give the game another chance. Please do something to revive this classic game, and hell, ask me for ideas if you want. I'm a bit of an author myself. Really, I miss Klonoa. I hate how Klonoa got left behind in the dust, while Sonic and Kirby are continuing to rise in popularity. I'm deeply saddened about it. I mean, it would have been nice to see more people talk about all the Klonoa lore and theorize on things. I would have made Gaudius and Joka reoccurring characters if I had a say in things, kind of like Bowser Jr. and K-Mac. I'm sorry if people were bored with this series, but I personally found it intriguing. I just wish there was more world building and original storylines to go on. That's my only nitpick, other than Moonlight Museum not being converted to newer systems in America. I would have made Hupo and Klonoa reunite in some form or another, kind of like in the comics. While the songstress doesn't necessarily have to become Klonoa's love interest, she could have become a recurring character as well. Klonoa was imaginative. It had its flaws, but I felt like if Namco put more time and effort into their baby, it would have become more than it is today. Even so, Klonoa taught us to dream. And not a day goes by without me thinking about it and missing it. Okay. This is Miss Whimsy signing out.